This is to welcome you to Intellectual Development Initiative, a multidisciplinary intellectual society presents International Strategic Development Conference 2015 held at Oddygo, North American University, Cotonou, in the Republic of Benin. Oddygo, North American University, Benin is located in Cotonou, here in the Republic of Benin, Cotonou. This venue is called Picardis area. To every participant, we welcome you all to Intellectual Development Initiative International Strategic Development Conference for the year 2015. You are all welcome. Thank you. Come inside. You are welcome.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, the proof of payment.
Proof of payment, actually, I forwarded to you. No something,
Well done. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I quite appreciate
10 minutes.
opportunity of
It's only want to be 5 minutes.
I'm Oddygo. I came from Tisa University, United Kingdom. What I want to present today is the challenges we are facing in Nigeria. It's not new. The rate of crime is all over the world. This is report from the UK. Consumer data from England for 2009 shows that 56% of females were found guilty for the offending, even given precautions, and they still commit the crime, compared to 48% of male offenders. The same thing happens in US as well. 150,000 women goes to prison on a daily basis, and they are the mothers for over 250,000 children, which are 10 years old. If this thing can happen in developing country, what about in developed country? What about developing country like Nigeria and Kotonou as well? In 2000, 8 goals were being formulated by the world leaders, and it's all about to end poverty and hunger, improve education, promote gender equality, improve health, and promote sustainable development. Because any changes you make, if it's not sustainable, it's not a change. Now, as of this year, 2015, MDG has expired. And what it aims to do now is to move to Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. And what is the focus of these group leaders? They are going to meet in November. This is November, they're already in the US, and they will also meet in January to start the project on how to have a sustainable change all over the country, with a focus to encourage every country to end poverty and enhance socio-economic development in a sustainable manner. This is according to World Bank. Now, this leads to a project which we tag Save the Woman. We have on Facebook, if you search Save the Woman, get us there, you can join, you can be part of the project. What does the project all about? It's to educate a woman. To educate a woman is to educate a nation, because women are the carers. I started this project personally to empower female image. There's the NTA reporting and the RTV, all shown on the network news, 4 p.m., 9 p.m. From there, I led to career counseling, because when you need to change their mind, let's sustain their mind, let them know that they still have, when they come back, when they leave the prison, serving jail. These are the inmates, receiving lectures, and when you preach to someone to accept Christ or to accept Muhammad Sallallahu, which is a Muslim way, if you don't empower them with what they need to feed on, they will definitely go back to their crime. That's why we said entrepreneurship needs to be encouraged in every institution. It's not about the certificate, but what you have in your body can take you to a better level. I started with skill action training on sculpture making and soap making. When I completed the project, everybody so much appreciated the project, and one of the friends called me that how can I assist him, which led me to extend the project to Oddygo prison in Oyo State. When we produce the sculpture, we give it out to schools. This is a basic education board, that's the secretary in Sokoto State. We give it to the prison service because we have education, we have schools. The government paid, but when we start producing, when we empower them, we reduce the cost of how they manage their education system. As well, we give it to other schools, and we train government technical college also in Uji Sambo, Sokoto State. These are the products. Now, unemployment and underemployment among the youth is a problem everywhere, like I've said earlier. How do we come to this issue? And it has created a lot of space, lack of human development space. True training is known as the backbone to a nation building. That is why we are back on this. Having acquired the relevant skills, academic way, we still need to empower ourselves. Because we are complaining of poverty, government cannot do everything for us. We need to build the skills in the youth, of Nigerian youth, of every nation youth. Let them be self-reliant. When they are self-reliant, they can even assist government in providing the job we are saying unemployment. Taking the roles of women into consideration as caregivers, their prospects for economic success, and the subsequent links to community goes a long way. That is why I target female inmates. People are asking me, why not male? In US, in other institutions, in other prison services over the world, they care for, even for male offenders, how much more in Nigeria? If you go to prison service, thank God we have aftercare service, they are doing that, but they focus more on the men. They neglect the female. And I'm an advocate of gender equality to empower women as well. On this note, I as a member, when I got to UK, I introduced the project to them. And the group I introduced it to is called Enactors. When you Google Enactors, you find the meaning of Enactors, who are the people involved. They are the committee of students, academics, and business leaders who are committed using the entrepreneurial script. In one of the titles for this conference, it's all about sustainable entrepreneurial for African youth development. I believe this project should be better not to adopt with, because I have seen conference in Scotland, Glasgow, but when I saw the publication of this, when I saw the advert, the flyer of this, and the doctor told me that there's something is coming up, I think I have to come back home. Let me leave the home for them to continue. Let me come to the African people. Let's empower ourselves. When Africa can, empower themselves, then we go to better chances to develop. Our mission there now is to come to Nigeria as an actor to overcome economic and educational hardship via this project that we have. Durham County and Manchester prison, that's the focus of the prison, the area we're going to go to. But they said, what I've done so far, they need to contribute to that also. That's why they asked me to come to Nigeria to build a team that we can work along together, the vibrant youth that can use their entrepreneurial skills, as well as, to change people's life, economically, socially, educational action. When I came to Nigeria last week, or last 2 weeks, I think last 2 weeks, I've been to Lagos State University where I had my first degree at so much charity school. With some students in Lagos State Polytechnic. I had a meeting with them, that's it. I've been to Ilorin, that's Balogun College, not sure, I had a meeting with them. And I've also written a letter to the State Command, of the State Command Business Service, and they've given the approval. I've sent a letter to the State Command, as well as to Oyo State. I wish to send to Oyo State, but I've not written that yet. We are using our skills to empower the nation. In the press, what else you need to do as a human being? You need to do what we call SWOT analysis. What do I mean by SWOT analysis? You know your strengths, you know your weakness, you know the opportunity around you, and you know the threat. If you are interested in this project, you can come to me, we talk together, we develop ourselves, and we discuss how we're going to be meeting. Thank you so much for giving me attention.
Well, this particular project that I saw brought Jonathan into this case to the level that he was given an award as the best copper in Nigeria. And from there, he was given scholarship to read up to PhD level in many universities in the world. And on behalf of the Intellectual Development Initiative, we want to say a big thank you to the former president of Nigeria, who saw the need for intellectual input in national growth and development. We can't remove intellectual input. We can't remove it. So we want to thank him so much for that. And we want to appeal to the present administration in Nigeria to please not to remove intellectualism. No, I don't want to believe that. We want to trust God that President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria will continue along the line of scholarship so that he will continue to sponsor people in universities and recognize intellectual input of lecturers too, not only students. This is important. We congratulate you, and we believe the God you are serving will continue to back you. Amen. The good work you are doing, do not stop it. Please keep touching other people's lives, and one day you don't be surprised. Your own relation too will be touched through your project. That is a research report. Let's take Dr. Kari.
This is IDI, Intellectual Development Initiative, a multidisciplinary intellectual society at the IDI 2015 International Strategic Conference. Let's meet the pioneer of this conference. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
It's a great pleasure to meet you.
Oh, great pleasure too.
We've been seeing you up and down since morning.
That's true.
Can you please tell us what precisely are you here for, please?
Oh, well, the idea, Intellectual Development Initiative, organized an international conference here in the Republic of Benin. And it is a follow-up to the program we had in Nigeria last year, when we had an interaction with the federal government of Nigeria on the well-celebrated historic 100 years of existence of the Nigerian nation. So, and we believe the success Nigeria made during the election will equally be replicated in almost all African states. And the areas of flaws that we equally noted can be corrected everywhere in Africa, in the continent. So, and we believe that education is very vital to progress in Africa. And that's why we are looking, having a serious focus on education. That if we get it right educationally, then we will get it right in all facets of our continental life. So, IDI pulled people from the diaspora, from different disciplines, in academics, those in the administrative lines, those, the technocrats, those who are in business. We are inviting all of them to come and look into what our education should be and how education can really propel development in Africa. So it is possible that way. It is possible that way for us to.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, like you said earlier, like how many participants are we looking at for this conference?
We have invited quite a number of people, but quite a number of them sent in their papers. That's part of the problem. They are not sponsored. They don't have sponsors for these conferences. In the past, Nigeria, for instance, used to have funds through a program they call Tech Fund, but today, Nigerian higher institutions don't have access to such funds any longer. So they don't have fund for international. It's quite sad. It's quite sad.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, can I please ask you, like you said, this is IDI. Is there any plans to have international collaboration, with other institutions across the country, across the world?
Exactly. We are planning to have collaboration, a partnership with foreign universities, particularly those in UK. We noted that they have advanced educational systems that are very stable now with them. So that's very stable. The programs we have in Africa, will not suffer, particularly for teenage youth in Africa. We have quite a number of programs that will lead the African youth to higher level development. So we are planning to link up with some universities in the UK with the hope of collaborating together on training, capacity development, on publications of our journals, once we affiliate our journals, to maintain that quality. So we are planning to link up with foreign universities to equally add quality to our current staff.
Do you have any record of any foreign investor at the moment that you are looking at, or you're still searching anyone?
No, not really searching. Like the reports we are receiving and what we are reading on the web, we have some of our students from Nigerian universities who have traveled to those universities, and we say when you are performing now, we are really happy. We are looking at Coventry University. We are always thinking of Teesside University. That if you can get across to some of these universities, we should be able to gain a lot from them. And we'll be able to have collaboration with them, partnership on a series of programs that we want to run here in Africa.
Thank you very much for your attention, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
It's a great pleasure to meet you. Can you please introduce yourself, sir?
Well, I'm Professor Alade. I'm a University of Ibadan, Teacher Education, Faculty of Education, University of Ibadan, Nigeria.
We'll be seeing you around for this conference. Can you please tell us, with your experience, what are the strategic issues to be debated on at this conference?
But there are strategic issues that we need to hash out in this conference in the area of education, technology, economic development, sustainable development as well, the economic development. And also, we need to thrash out, in particular, how do we deal with issues that involves what I call entrepreneurship, whereby our young people are trained and able to get employment after leaving their school. This is very crucial to us at this point in time in Africa, and in particularly in Nigeria, which is the most populated country in Africa. So we have to face it and make sure that the fundamental issues that involves technology, that is the ICT, for example, the information, communication, and technology, we need to be able to emphasize and see how it could be used to promote and drive our economy. The world today is being driven by economy, particularly by technology, the ICT. Whether you talk about anything you talk about in social media, or you talk about it in terms of other e-learning prospects in our schools, we need to develop so that our children will be so involved and be interested in e-learning, so that they can be familiar with technology in teaching and in learning. And not only that, we should be able to see the creative knowledge of our young ones and plow it back into the system. For example, what we find today is that the rate of employment in our country is so dismaying. And this is where the issue of entrepreneurship education comes in. That when they are in the university or polytechnics or colleges of education, they are introduced and get competent in the area of entrepreneurship education, in particular, vocation and technical education. We must emphasize that area because I know that many countries in the world, whether you talk about the United States or you talk about even Britain, they did build up their vocational and technical education so that the young ones can practice something that will lead to the development and even self-employment. It's not everybody that can be employed by government, and so we must encourage them to get involved with self-employment. And this can only happen through entrepreneurship education, which we must encourage in this part of the world. Africa generally, there's a great underdevelopment because there are so many people in Africa, and yet many of them are not functionally literate. You may say, okay, we'll be having some level of literacy going up in Africa, but then many are not functionally literate. What I mean by that is this. Functional literacy means that they should be able to apply knowledge to whatever they are doing. If they are mechanics, they must have adequate knowledge in that mechanic area. If they are plumbers, they must have knowledge about it as plumbers. If they are painters, people paint houses and buildings and cars and what have you, they must have knowledge in this area. And that is the exact thing that we must be able to equip the African youth in general, and in particular in Nigeria and the world around us. And then also, we must make effort to see that the young ones are also disciplined in whatever field they go into, because discipline is so essential for development. One of the things that we find in some parts of the world, that the youth are not disciplined, and that affects the country in general. But in Africa, we need to be able to see the discipline, how it will make our children to be well disciplined so that they can contribute effectively to the development of their locale. And we should also try as much as possible as countries in Africa to see that we cooperate. Like we have the ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States. In what areas are we cooperating that will bring effective development? For example, how much trade is Nigeria carrying on with Benin Republic? Benin Republic with Togo, Togo with Ghana, Ghana with Cote d'Ivoire, and so on and so forth like that. Let us cooperate and see the volume of trade to really begin with our West African sub-region. Then we can expand to the whole of Africa, and that includes South Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, and even North Africa. It's about time we begin to turn our eyes away from the developed world alone. They are developed, but then let's see how we can cooperate among our developing nations. It is easier to do business with them. It is costless for us to do business with them. And that is why we should endeavor to have better cooperation and regional cooperation, so that the regional cooperation will lead to the development of African countries. You can see today, Europe is already come together. We have European Union. And you have countries in Europe, they are having common currency, and movement is being regulated within Europe. The same thing is happening in America, the American states, they are also coming together. So we also in Nigeria and Africa in general, we must endeavor to come together so that we can forge better development. See, Africa is large and has so many countries. If I'm right, there are about 52 countries in Africa, and if we cooperate very well among ourselves, it will promote economic development. Let's remember, IDL is Intellectual Development Initiative, and what we need is intellectual development that will sensitize our leaders to developing the intellects of our young ones. You see, what we find today is that the ivory tower, the university, we are not pouring sufficient money to the university that will help them to do appropriate research and development that will lead to the development of the African people. Because look at it this way. If, for example, I don't know what name they call it, in Nigeria we have which one called NEPA, so electric power supply. I want to see that kind of organization where they are able to have money through research into our university. For example, take the case of the United States as an example. The Carnegie pours money into the universities to do research. So I want to see the power companies across Africa, in Benin Republic, in Ghana, Sierra Leone. Let the power companies try to, have what I can call research, and development through our university. It's about time we turn our eyes away from Europe or America without really seeing the need for us to have development that will help us in Africa, particularly with our people. We understand ourselves, we understand our problem. You see, Europe is developed, but they develop through their own systemic understanding of their environment. Our environment here, for example, is tropical, particularly West African region, or even East Africa. So we should endeavor and try to have the kind of research and development that will be able to aid the African countries. Educational systems should be encouraged to do this kind of research and development. Very, very important, very, very useful. Because without research and development, it's not going to be easy for African countries to be able to develop the way we'll have developed. We will still be relying on Europe and America and some of these countries if we don't have our research and development developed very well in Africa. So it's very, very crucial to do this.
Thank you very much, sir, for the attention. I'm really grateful. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah.